What's up? So a lot of talk about Jake Paul fighting Anderson Silva. This is my take on YouTube boxing in general. I'm not really that into it. I don't really care to see it that often or support it. If it's on, I'll watch it, but I'm not one of these people that's like so against it where it's like ruining the sport or it's it's like I'm a boxing purist and you can't watch it. People like it, watch what you like, support what you want to support. And I think a guy like Jake Paul, he's clearly taking it seriously. These other guys who do these things like YouTube and TikTok, I could tell they're not taking it seriously. But Jake Paul, he is taking it seriously. So you got to think, you got to give him some credit. I give Jake Paul credit. He's taking the sport seriously. He's training hard. He's doing his thing, and he's making pretty big pay-per-view events. I got to say this. I didn't think he would be able to beat Nate Robinson back then. He did it. And if you would have told me 4 or 5 years ago that a guy who had never boxed before is going to be able to beat Nate Robinson, Tyron Woodley, and Ben Askren by knockout, I wouldn't have believed you. So even if Jake Paul gets knocked out in the first round of the Anderson Silva fight, he still will have exceeded my expectations by a lot. So I think that's cool. I think people take boxing too seriously, and maybe we need a Jake Paul just to kind of like add some levity to it. Am I super into the fight? No. Will I be buying it? Probably not. But if it's on and somebody around me buys it, yeah, I'm not I'm not opposed to checking it out, and it could be kind of fun. Jake Paul, I think he talks about him being a champion. He's never going to be a world champion. He's never going to beat a legitimate world champion, but why not let him have his dreams? What's the problem? What can really hurt? I think that Jake Paul is a funny guy. He's entertaining. And what he does more than anything else is he shows that MMA fighters can't compete in boxing, because for years they said that MMA guys could transfer over to boxing and they could compete. And you see that the striking in MMA is really not on par with the striking of boxing. It's really no comparison. So that's something that Jake Paul shows. And I think Jake Paul, he's fun for the game. He adds a lot of excitement, and unfortunately we don't get to see the big fights that we want to see often enough. So that's why I think Jake Paul, a big reason why Jake Paul, he gets to give you these, interesting matchups that kind of, raise the, question and kind of poke, people's curiosity of who would win, this guy or this guy. So it's interesting stuff. Jake Paul, he's already exceeded my expectations.